What's up, everybody? I'm John Caspian.
I'm Joseph.
I'm also John, but not of the Caspian variety.
No.
Right.
The Galvin kind.
What's up, everybody? We have an announcement for GigaCon straight off the bat.
Yes. So, guys, GigaCon is starting tonight. We added a Friday night event, which is going to be Extreme Colossal Wrestling. Is a War Machine and Hordes event that's lasting from Friday all the way through Sunday. So if you guys haven't registered yet, now is the time to do it. We will be taking registration all the way up to Saturday morning, in which we are going to begin the first of the official tournaments leading into the Masters event. So once again, if you guys are interested in the event, whether you're playing competitively or casually, we have something for you all weekend, and we will be taking registration up until tomorrow morning. So please do that. Register. It'd be awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool.
And I'll talk a little bit more about tonight's events towards the end of the stream if we got time.
Yep. Sounds good. So before we get into the main topic, which is Kill Team, Joseph, go ahead and tell us some of the new releases that we got in store this week.
Okay, well, the first one I was able to play this game at Origins this year, and it's called the Mystery of the Temples, is it?
Yeah, Mystery of the
Templars.
Temples.
Yeah, I think I pronounced that the right
Oh,
way.
Temples. Yeah.
Temples. And it retails for about $25, and basically the concept is it's a Euro game where you and your the players are going around trying to lift curses from specific locations. In order to do that, you have to collect crystals, and you have to move to specific spaces on the board in order to do that. Specific spaces allow you to do specific actions, and what you have to do is basically a card may have, for example, you may have like 5 colors, ranging from red, blue, yellow, green, and I think pink, if I remember, white. And basically, each card has all these colors in order, and you have to lay the crystals in order according to what's on the location card.
Nice. How long does that play?
And you have to... it's about probably 30, 40, 45 minutes. It's not that long of a game. Let's see.
Nice.
It's about...
Cool. So is that a good one to pick up and play fairly quickly?
Oh yeah, it's very quickly game, and and it's really easy to get into. As you can see, they have a lot of game in a small box. So
Nice.
if you're interested in checking it out, it's $25.95. It's a good entry price. If you're not really sure about board gaming and you're trying to get started, I think it would be a really good one to start with.
Nice.
So,
What else?
That one. The other one we have here is a very popular one. It's the sequel / expansion, yeah,
Expansion.
to the game Century Spice Road, and this is Century Eastern.
So could you
Well,
play it
this-
just with that alone, or do you need the base game?
It's well, you can play it by itself.
Ooh.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
So if you're familiar with Spice Road, it's just basically you're going around collecting cards that have spices, and you can upgrade your spices from low end to high end, and you can be gathering new cards. And that
Is
mechanic.
that
But in this
similar
game,
to Splendor?
I think it's similar to Splendor. It's very popular. Another popular Euro game that plays very quickly. What makes this game interesting is that, as you can see in the back, you're doing the same concept. You're going around, you're taking these ships, and you're going to different ports, and you're collecting spices, and you're dropping spices off and collecting spices.
Very cool.
And it's a cool thing that if you leave a spice, if you leave a space, you have to drop a spice there. You're paying for, you'll be paying for being there.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes this game cool is that it has 2 game modes. You can play just the solo game mode that this game comes in, or you can take Spice Road and you can combine the 2 and add that as an extra mechanic. So
That's
it's kinda
good to know.
Yeah, the expansions. And they also come out with a 3rd one coming out next year where you're supposed to be able to combine all 3 of them.
All right. That's
So
cool.
we have it here at the store for you guys to demo. So you want to come in, play it, or check out the components. It's right there on the demo table. So
Nice.
we've had a couple copies, and now we have, it's been selling consistently. So it's a very popular one.
Sweet. What's next?
So the next one we have is also at Origin, and this is called Roundhouse. A worker placement game, and basically you and your players are basically just your family helping a very rich person in I don't know what country it is, but you're basically a family trying to get the most glory points for your family.
Oh, cool. Okay.
To say, and you basically go around. It's a strategic worker placement, like you said, and you just put your pawns there. You collect. It's a card drafting game, so you're just going around trying to get the most points for your family.
Nice.
And it retails it retails for $49, and you can see right here. And it's a very beautiful game. It has very good artwork and has very nice, very good components. So that came in, and
Nice. Anything else?
Yeah, why not? Nothing new that I.
So that's it for board games, right?
Board
board
games,
games
yeah.
that I saw that came in new. We have a lot of restocks.
So for other new things that are coming in this week, especially Games Workshop variety, we are getting in paint handles back in stock. So
Yeah.
that's super exciting. I wish I had some to hold and show for you guys.
I will show you right now. I have one.
Oh, good.
Nice.
But yeah, so we're getting those in hopefully today, if not today, tomorrow. A holiday kind of slowed our shipments down. And with that, we are also receiving the next wave of Age of Sigmar releases, which is going to be the Night Haunts and Stormcast Battle Tome, plus Lady Oleander, some additional Night Haunt units, and Stormcast characters and units. All this is coming with the War Scroll cards and oh man, I'm blanking. Dice. Dice is always important.
Yes.
So all that's coming in this week. Hopefully it'll show up during the stream. If not, it'll be here a little bit later, and we'll make a big post. All the new stuff releases on Saturday, where the paint handles, the moment we get them in, you guys can come and get them. We do have a large quantity coming in, but don't expect them to last too long. I expect them to mostly be gone by the end of the weekend.
Yes.
Simply because they've been such a hot item and people have really wanted them. So if you want a paint handle and you already haven't put yourself on a pre-order list, put yourself on the list now. Let us know.
Comment below.
Message the store. Don't comment on the stream because that's going to go too far.
Oh, you're right. Message us.
Yes, please message the store or call us once the stream's over and we'll get you taken care of.
Some important info on the paint handles. They fit up to a 40 millimeter, which is the typical Stormcast Eternal size. So that's the largest size they hold. They do 25 millimeter. They could probably do lower than 25 millimeter. If you've got a tiny, like 15 millimeter base, they might hold that, but probably not. They're designed for the three main sizes that the GW infantry models have. So right here is the Grot or Gretchen for my kill team. And that is a 25 millimeter base, and then it goes up to 40. It does both beveled and rounded. So if you have a rounded base for War Machine and Hordes and you want to paint that, you're good to go. And yeah, you can also unscrew from the handle and put this onto a tripod. It's a standard tripod mount. So if you want to have it a little bit higher up, I actually put this on my tripod sometimes. Or if I'm doing a painting stream, I can put this on a tripod and don't have to worry about it being on the handle. And then you can actually use the handle for other things. It's kind of heavy, bottom loaded. So there you go, paint handle.
Also good to know that if you're painting a larger model, you can glue it to or attach it to a smaller base and use the paint handle to still work on it. I've seen a lot of guys, even for like War Machine and Hordes, where they'll like basically pin a foot onto a smaller base, like a 32 or 30 base, and use the paint handle to paint it. And then once they're done, take it from that base and put it on the actual base it's supposed to go on. And that can work for basically up to like I think Demon Prince size, so like 60 millimeter or 50 millimeter for Privateer Press. Just as ways to use that paint handle and get your models to work and be good.
Yeah, because naturally the springs don't allow for much higher than... Oop, I just dropped that model. Oops. Goodbye, Stormcast.
You can even use sticky tack to put sticky tack on top of the paint handle and then put a larger base on there if you really want to get crazy. But that's all up to you.
Yeah.
You can really like make as many modifications as you want. I actually know a couple of people that have glued 40 to 50 millimeter bases to the bottom of their paint handle to increase stability. So when they set it down on the table, it doesn't like tip over or wobble too much. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with these paint handles.
So good job, GW. Well designed.
No, it's a phenomenal product, and the price is amazing. We've looked at similar products to carry here in the store, especially after the shortage, but nothing really matches kind of like what GW is able to do at the price point that it's at. So.
Yep. And Christopher, yes, I actually put the robot handling the microphone like that because it looks more fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot of cool stuff coming in this week. I mean, obviously our normal restocks, for Games Workshop coming with that. So if there's something that you're missing, we should have it back in stock now. Paints being the big one.
Yeah,
I know. I for one like when the paints are in because
and those Night Haunt paints are phenomenal.
We have some more of those coming in because we're getting a little bit low on our initial wave, so that's pretty exciting. The Night Haunt. What is it? I think it's like Hex Wraith Flame. I absolutely love it. I've been using it for a lot of things. The Endless Spells, it takes to really well. Like, it took me 2 seconds to paint an Endless Life Swarm paint all the bugs green and paint the skull. So paint prime white, use hexflake frame on the insects, makes them nice and green and glowy. And then there's a skull at the base, and all you have to do is take a Seraphim Sepia wash and hit over the skull, and it's painted. It's done.
Ooh,
you don't have to do
nice.
anything else except for base it.
Does the paint go on more like a wash or a glaze?
So it's a little bit thicker than your normal wash, and so you have to watch out for that a little bit, right? So since it's a little thicker, it's not quite as thick as a normal Games Workshop paint, and it's not nearly as thin as a wash. It's a little bit of... It's closer to the wash than the paint, but it's a little thicker. And so that does mean that when you're applying it, make sure that it's not pooling too much, because when it does pool, it will be fairly noticeable when it sets. So always make sure that you're moving your brush around, making sure that things are kind of nice and even in terms of the coverage of it. But it does apply very well, and you can see the effect like instantaneously, right? Like it's not something where it's like, oh man, I guess I'll have to wait till it dries to see how good it looks. It looks good right off the bat, and it kind of dries as it looks.
It's awesome.
You just have to make sure that the paint doesn't start seeping to one area. So.
Oh, Thomas, is it like the oxide? I think that was kind of my question, but the oxide's meant to pool in the recesses.
Yeah, so I still find it to be a little bit thicker than the oxide, and this just could be perception. And also, I probably keep trying to like relate it to GAC of all things, like Slimer, like GAC, just like this green ooze gooey thing. I really, yeah, to me it still feels thinner. I don't know if it's psychological or not, but feels thicker than oxide. So yeah.
Well, I mean, considering how GW paints are traditionally on the thicker side anyway, it might just be a relative thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I haven't had a chance to try the Nighthawk Gloom yet, simply because I haven't painted anything that needs that yet, but I've seen a lot of great results for it. Once again, if you prime white and put the Nighthawk Gloom over things, you get this nice kind of like gray, blue, ghosty effect.
That's awesome.
So prime white, Nighthawk Glue, and then you just gloom, and then you just dry brush Ultramon Gray, I believe, over it, and it's a perfect effect.
And there's some folks who are doing like full ghost armies besides Night Haunts, right? Like you could do Ghost Stormcast.
You could do Ghost Stormcast.
That'd be really cool. Now, if only they were see-through, that'd be cool.
Translucent.
Oh yeah. Maybe one day.
That's the term I'm looking for. Translucent.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all of this week's releases. So we have new board games. We have new Games Workshop coming out. Next week will be the release of Crucible Guard for War Machine and Hordes.
Yes.
For those who haven't looked it up, it is the crazy mad scientist faction from the setting. So if you like weird science and if you like flexibility and modularity in how you play a game, these guys are phenomenal for it. Privateer Press was nice enough to send us a preview model to paint up. Joe's holding that up there.
It looks great.
Yeah. It may not focus because there's two handsome men behind it. Oh, there it goes. So that's Prospero. He is a warcaster, a journeyman warcaster, so he counts as a solo in your army. He was a bright and successful mind that had this warcaster ability. And when he died, they decided, you're not done with the Crucible yet. We're going to put your brain in a jar and give you a robot body.
As they do.
So, yeah, as you do. He's a really cool model. We have it all on display for you guys to check out to see what you can do with it. The paint scheme for it was relatively easy, so if you're interested in painting that sort of stuff, I have all the formulas and I can show you how on an example model, which is fantastic.
I love those colors, by the way. Those colors, I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
my favorite
awesome.
colors.
And Thomas, you shush with that ghost Saurus. They are real flesh and blood creatures.
They're real now.
They're real now.
But speaking of what's real,
Kill Team? Are we
Kill
talking
Team.
about Kill Team?
So I talked about this in a stream and might have gotten censored a little bit because I spoke of a specific date. But now that they've said July, we can more verifiably say end of July.
Correct.
Wink, wink. That weekend, the last weekend of July. It's probably going to be that one.
We know that it's coming. They haven't given us days. One of the reasons why they're particular about days is because any number of production issues could have arisen to prevent it from coming out that time, and they don't want to be stuck to a specific date if something came up. But Kill Team was finally announced. We all knew it was coming. I mean, they announced it to us almost 6 months ago. I think it was in February. Was that when Temple? No, Las Vegas Open was. I think that's when they said it was coming. I wasn't expecting it to be done the way it was. And the most exciting thing about it is the guys who did Shadespire are the ones who were working on it.
Yes.
So that leads to a lot of really cool ideas and thoughts, at least on my end, as someone who will be playing this product quite a bit.
Now, for those who haven't heard of it, what is Kill Team? I mean,
so Kill Team is set in the 40K universe. It uses Warhammer 40K models. It, however, uses much less of them. So it is a squad-based skirmish game. So instead of using an army of 50 to hundreds of models, you're using 5 to 8.
So it's like Shadespire, like you said.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you're going to be taking a squad from any number of given factions. Most of them are in the game, and you're making a specialized team that's going in with a very specific objective or thing to kill.
Okay. Now, how's the mechanics work? Is it like Shadespire mechanics? Or?
We don't know the whole mechanics yet, and they'll be talking about that more as the game comes out. We do know there's alternating activations. So instead of 40K where you move and activate your entire army, you will instead activate one model, move, and get to do whatever you want with him. And then your opponent gets to activate one of his models. And it's a back and forth. With at a small scale like that, it keeps the action up. So unlike 40K where there could be 30 minutes or so of you not being able to interact with your own army outside of taking like armor saves, Kill Team will be very fast-paced and moving back and forth. And the second mechanic that we know for sure that's coming in is the command points.
Okay.
Now, command points are going to have to be different than what we've seen in Warhammer 40K.
They're going to be closer to the Age of Sigmar.
Exactly. They're going to be closer to how Age of Sigmar works, where you are going to get either a set limit where it refills through the thing, or you're going to be able to fulfill certain army building requirements to get yourself more command points at the start of the game.
So it sounds like something that's really, if it's like anything like Shadespire, and Caspian actually introduced me to Shadespire, but I really do enjoy it. I enjoy the simplicity of it and the ease of it. It's a good way. It's a good light 40K miniature or
Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar miniature. And it sounds like that Kill Team hopefully will be that light game.
And it looks like that's what they're planning on, right? So all the products that they've shown so far, if you guys haven't gotten a chance to go over to warhammercommunity.com, they kind of preview the first things that are coming out. Things that I highly enjoy is not only they're releasing a box set with like 2 armies in it, terrain, a mat to play on, all that sort of good stuff, but they're also releasing the standalone rulebook by itself.
Nice.
And that's a really big deal from 40K because generally with like releases with these smaller games, they'll just make the rulebook available only in the starter set. But I think they have a lot of faith in this product, and they have a lot of momentum behind it to where they're able to release the book separately, and it's going to be a good deal. So anyone who is looking at playing it is able to get in. Let's say like you wanted to play, and you want to play your Dark Angels.
I'm showing here what's inside the box set.
Good.
And this is going to be the full box set, which is going to come out whenever the big release is. I'm assuming at the end of the month, just because, or later, whatever their logistics are, as John said. But inside here, you're going to have a lot of terrain, so they're going to be able to buy terrain pieces that you can fill out your collection with. So you have terrain pieces here that's going to fill up a 22-inch by 30-inch board. And from what I've gathered, the actual board will actually come in the box. It doesn't show this, but you're going to have the boards that you can get as well. They also said in the Q&A that battle realms are able to be used, so you're not restricted to the 22-inch by 30-inch board size. They have the Skitari and the Genestealer Cult background booklet, which is going to give you some information on those 2 particular kill teams, as well as some unique data cards here. That's number 9. And then the Skitari and the Genestealer Cult actual squads. And these are built for kill teams. So these are squads that are built for the game, compared to a box that you would get for 40K and convert yourself. And then what else is in here? Yeah, pre-filled data cards, dice and rulers. So there's D10 inside here, which is interesting. Those are used for roles such as injury stats and stuff like that at the end. Back to you, John.
So it is an absolutely great box set, and it does have new terrain in it. So terrain that we've never seen before will be in there, and it doesn't look like it's currently on the release schedule elsewhere. So if you guys are terrain fanatics and like to build new boards or things like that, Kill Team's a good pickup for that. They did confirm that the board that comes with it will be cardstock. And every time they release a prepackaged kill team, which they will be doing several of, we already know of Space Wolves and Orcs coming out. It will come with a cardstock board that has a Sector Imperialis side and then one of the several kill team zones or planets in it, which is pretty awesome. Brian did ask if it's going to be compatible with Necromunda or Shadow War Armageddon. They currently don't have rules to port Necromunda over to Kill Team, but anyone who's played Shadow Wars Armageddon, this will be kind of like a continuation of that. So I don't expect it to be necessarily one-for-one compatible, but like the same process and thought involved with Shadow Wars Armageddon is used in Kill Team itself. So.
And then I'm showing here the Kill Team boxes. So there's Fangs of Ulfric, and then the Krog Skull's Boys. Those are a burner squad, and they will come with terrain as well. So you have, I think, 5 in each one. The Fangs of Ulfric are a Primaris squad. I think there's 5 models in that, and 5 models in the Boy squad. And then here you can see the actual pieces of terrain that come with it. They'll have a booklet that details their background. I think these are tokens inside here. That's number 3. Yeah, custom tokens for the orcs. So that could be useful if you're running other orc things. They said in here that you can do counts as models quite a bit. So for instance, I've got my Gretchen, and if they don't have rules for Gretchen, I'm just going to run my Gretchen like really skilled orc boys.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool stuff taking part in that box set. And it comes with, I think it's like pre-colored plastic and all that. Hold on one second, Joe.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, pre-colored plastic. So the Fangs of Ulfric here will have pre-colored, and of course it's really easy to paint Space Wolves. They got that great blue color. And then a piece of terrain that comes with that box. So these are really good if you're waiting for your Space Wolf Codex. It's going to be great for those of you who are Space Wolf players and for Orc players that are waiting for your codexes. Sorry, guys, folks. And then what they said here is that the old terrain, it's not that it won't be supported. It's that they won't really be re-releasing any of the old terrain. They're basically taking this terrain and going forward with it in terms of production and whatnot. Because that was one of the questions in the Q&A, was if terrain would be supported or not. And they said they're not really going to be using the old stuff so much. This new stuff looks absolutely phenomenal, though, so I'm okay with that. It's still good. I mean, any of the terrain at the store you'll be able to use for, and we have tons of terrain, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Tons of terrain at the store, so don't worry about if if this terrain is compatible or that terrain is compatible. It's all good. And we'll probably asterisk be getting terrain for these terrain to be able to use it in store. Ricky Kia, who is our champion for skirmish games for 40K, he'll be having some information coming out soon. I'm working with him on making events and whatnot for Kill Team, since it's going to be big. We will have, like I said before, a list and or some way of identifying what models are inherently designed for Kill Team. They'll probably give us, if they don't give us a list, then we'll tell them to give us a list. But we'll check out the rulebook if we have to and see what types of models are inherently compatible with it. And then if a model is not compatible with it, you can still do a counts as model. We're probably not going to have too many restrictions on that, assuming, of course, you don't bring in a demon prince for a cultist. Base size is probably pretty important, but overall, counts as models will be fine.
Yeah, and it looks like they started doing the insiders on what is included or being able to be included for any given faction, and it's pretty expansive. Pretty much as long as it falls under like troops, the troops selection for most armies should be fine. The elites and or fast attacks, they're probably going to be a little bit more selective of, so you might see 1 or 2 for each army in there. But as you said, if you wanted to run a counts as army, go for it. I mean, a lot of the stuff here at Giga-Bites, I mean, it's for your enjoyment, right? Oh, yeah. So we will only be restrictive in terms of like models when it comes to readability. So if you're able to properly decide or see that a model is representing other models in a reasonable context, then you're A-okay. These are all about your enjoyment.
And then you can always talk with your opponent and say, hey, I want to play this XYZ as, you know, an army. So, for instance, like I said before, my little Gretchens, these guys are going to be like an assassin Gretchen squad, which to me is hilarious because why not? So if they aren't supported, which I want them to be, if they're not supported in the rules for Kill Team, I'm just going to run them as boys. Oh, specialists. Let's talk about specialists.
Yeah.
They've revealed a couple of different specialties, like demolitions and then sniper specialists.
Yeah.
But they said there was, what, 5 or 6 different specialists that you can get.
Yeah, and there's usually like trees from there. So like, and this is something that's a little bit of a holdover from Shadow Wars Armageddon, where like if you take demo specialist, there's like a tree of abilities that you can get for it. So anything that helps you blow up stuff, you'll find in there. The addition to command points, I think, opens it up a little bit more because you can give them much broader abilities or much bigger abilities that cost resources to activate or use. So it's really cool. Like I know in Shadow Wars Armageddon, there's like even like a dirty fighting specialist. So like someone who's all about throwing dirt in their opponent's eyes and getting the upper hand no matter what the cost. That was kind of a cool guy and very like Chaosy or Gene Stealer Cult or you know, any of that fun stuff.
And I'm showing the demolitions tree right here. As your characters develop and level up, they branch out. So this one shows Breacher, where you add 1 to the model's wound rolls, and then from there you can either go to a Pyromaniac, which is where you're basically going for flames, or you're going Grenadier, which is where you're going for bombs, which is really cool. And they also showed off a blurry version of the Sniper Specialist, like they took a screen cap of it or something. So what do you think some of the other specialties are going to be, John?
So there was like I would expect a guerrilla fighting specialist, so some sort of like covert ops or guerrilla specialist. I would expect a command specialist as well, so someone who gets benefits for instructing other folks what to do. Should be a pretty given one. Like what are we getting 7 altogether?
I think they said 6.
6 altogether. So yeah, that makes sense. Demo, sniper, command, covert ops, or guerrilla. I'm not sure if heavy weapons will be covered by demo or not. They might have rolled those 2 together.
Any love for medics?
There might actually be a medical specialist. There might be a support specialist.
Nice.
So someone
support.
who's around to keep your guys in the fight for a little bit longer. Especially with the injury table, I feel like having someone on the medical side might be a good way to go about it.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be awesome. I'm showing here the 16 factions that are available straight off the bat. So you don't have Custodes. You do have Harlequins, which is interesting because they're pretty high point per model in the typical 40K. But you don't have some of the super powerful individual models, such as Custodes. That's not like you can't run them as Primaris. You could totally run them as that if you want to. That's your choice. It counts as Primaris Marines.
Right. And there is currently 3 factions that we know of that aren't in there. Custodes being the big one. Then Imperial Knights, you can't put a knight in the game currently.
Yeah, that wouldn't seem right.
Then there's also Imperial Agents are not in there.
That's right.
So those are the 3 that I can think of. I looked through the list a couple times. Ricky even helped me out going through it because I got Custodes and Knights, and then I forgot about Imperial Agents. But all of those can be used as like counts as like I'm not saying plop a knight and saying this is an orc boy, but no, like converting some Skitarii or Imperial Guard over to like knight pilots that maybe have to get out of their knights to like do a repair mission.
Yeah, interesting.
I think that would be a fun one. And I think like Skitarii would represent that better, because of all the technical stuff and being more mechanically inclined. Primaris for Custodes makes a whole lot of sense. And then Imperial Agents, you can do a mix. Like you can either do like Grey Knight characters, or you can do once again Imperial Guard like Commissars and things like that. And there might be options for Imperial Agents in the other factions themselves, like an Inquisitor is coming with my Imperial Guard kind of thing. Stuff seems relatively likely. Also, the Assassins aren't in there, and the Assassins seem relatively kill teamy. Like, I feel like you should be able to have a kill team of just the assassins.
No, wait, there's no assassins in the game called Kill Team?
No. I'm just saying, like, there's 4 assassins. You can use all 4 assassins as a kill team.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
In any Imperial, they have Imperial, not Imperial, but the Imperial Guardsmen.
Yeah,
specialists.
Astra Militarism's in there. There's a lot of pretty much everything's covered, like except for those 3 factions where they either are way too big to be represented on the board, or they just have too powerful of individual models. Like, couldn't imagine putting Kodiaz on the board and just, you know.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense in that.
Yeah, Custodes would have his like left foot would be worth like 10.
Right.
He literally could just kick butt and take names with his foot.
I mean, it's a skirmish thing. It's not supposed to be like this.
Yeah. So the cool thing about it, I mean, if you like Necromunda, you'll probably like it, since I feel like it's kind of similar in that way. The customization for me is going to be great because you're allowed to literally just buy a single box and use all of the same type of unit. So if you got a bunch of orc boys for orcs and you're waiting for your codex, just run 5 to 10 orc boys and you're fine. But if you already have an army, you can pick and choose from your army. So those Primaris players or Death Guard players, you literally can pick a Reaver here or a rocket launcher here. That to me is really cool.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun aspects that you can totally do with it. And like, I know with me, I've played Thousand Sons for a while, and I've converted up a lot of my guys, and now I can kind of give like a little bit of backstory and kind of justify that customization with like in-game rules with it, which is pretty exciting.
And a couple of folks were talking about, sorry to interrupt, a couple of folks were talking about being able to build your own battle realm and then be able to bring that and play on it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's another plus side. Since it only takes a 2x2 square, you can either A, buy one of the pre-made plastic ones from Games Workshop, which are phenomenal, and we can totally order those in for you guys. Or B, you can go to Home Depot, get them to cut you a 2x2 piece of wood or MDF or whatever you guys want, and build up your custom one from there. Because with me, it's like, oh, I can totally do a desert board for my Thousand Sons to rock out on to defend their
heck yes.
mission. So there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with it. And I really like that Games Workshop more than a lot of other like games. And they're able to do this because they're so large now, but they're really pushing the customization and really kind of tailoring your army to be your own thing. And I really appreciate that as someone who likes to mod and paint and do
and stories are so important. I think that's one of the big things that GW has gotten down so well. Is that you being able to tell your own stories. Like, these little Gretchen models are actually have quite a bit of personality on them. So one of the models I painted an eyeball is like really large compared to the other one. So I literally am going to call this one Crazy Eye. And so he's going to be he's basically a sniper character with a crazy eye. It's like abnormally large compared to the other one. It's hilarious. But you can tell all kinds of different stories. It's awesome.
No, absolutely. Yeah, so Kill Team in itself is really great for narrative play. And I also, I mean, on top of that, I'm glad that they also gave open narrative and match play in the rule book. Like, they're starting off strong with it. So I don't know in terms of match play, like how deep it's going to get, but if we can potentially run just a Kill Team tournament at some point, if the popularity's there, that'd be kind of cool to see.
Oh yeah. I mean, the idea of just being able to invest in the story and be part of the story, that's one of the main, that's what people love about reading books, and now you'll be able to actually play through a chapter in a book and write your own story and be part of it and shape your own world. That's fun. I mean, that's always awesome.
Yeah.
What would be cool to me is if we had a battlefield that was maybe like a 2x4, where 2 players each brought their own battle realms. So each time that you fought, you basically put yours against another person's.
Hey, John, I know we got started late, but it is in that 12 o'clock point, so we probably need to get going to get the store open for the folks. But we'll leave you to take over from here.
Sure.
So,
and you want to do a final thing on GigaCon?
Oh, yeah. GigaCon Extreme Colossal Wrestling tonight. It starts at 6 p.m. So if you guys haven't signed up, you still have plenty of time to do so. We hope to see you and everyone else here at 6 o'clock. Have fun. This is going to be a great time to kind of meet the rest of the players and relax and chat before we start doing competitive stuff on Saturday. Also, if you guys wanted to get 1 or 2 more practice games in before the start of GigaCon, this is a great time to do it as well. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm taking off. I'm not sure if John's keeping on.
Yeah, I'll keep on for just a couple more minutes.
And we'll catch you next time, okay?
All right, so thanks, John. Oh, excuse me. having tons of on our Facebook. We got a lot of weekly events that are going on, so if you have a game that you want to play and it's not a weekly event, just contact us and we'll see if we can make something happen. But we have tons of weekly stuff going on, which is great. And we have one-off events. If you scroll down on the event page past where all the weekly stuff is, you can see our one-off events. We got tons of cool events coming up. One of our players has Torg Eternity RPG. I believe it's coming out soon, and so he's got some a session basically that he wants to run for that one. And then on this Sunday we have Skirmish Sunday, which is our friends at the Skirmish Supremacy podcast. Nick is going to be bringing a whole bunch of different games. If you like skirmish games or are interested in skirmish games, smaller model counts, doesn't take as much time necessarily as 40K or a larger game, come this Sunday. You can see the event on our events page at Facebook. But otherwise, this is the summer of gaming, y'all. So make sure you come to the store, post some photos of what you're playing. You know, it gets people interested when you're posting stuff and, you know, people are seeing games being played at the store. Yeah, that's it. So we will see y'all at the store over the weekend. GigaCon is this weekend, but there still should be open spots available. So make sure you check that out. It's great to see everybody, and we will see y'all at Giga-Bites Café this weekend. Bye.